But here's the last thing, and we'll go. If you check your flood schedule that I just read to you, that showed that on the 7th month, in the first 4 verses of chapter 8, on the 17th day, the ark rested. Let me read this to you. The ark rested on Mount Ararat on the 17th day of the 7th month. The first month in the Hebrew calendar is October, so the 7th month would be April. April 17th, 3 days after Passover. If you want to look at Exodus chapter 12, Passover was supposed to be on April 14th. 3 days after April 14th is the day that the ark rested on Mount Ararat. What event took place 3 days after Passover? Of course, Christ the Lord is risen today. The day that the ark rested on Mount Ararat is the day our Lord arose from the dead. April was made the first month of the religious year at Passover, but October remains the first month of the civil year. The ark totally pictures our salvation. It pictures our salvation because it was planned by God. That was the only way of salvation. It was made of wood. It was atoned and covered over. It was at the invitation of God. It saved mankind and the creatures within as the death of Christ liberates the universe from sin. It saved them from judgment as Christ saves us from the wrath to come. And the ark rested on the day that Christ stepped forth from the tomb. Well, there's a lot more, and we're going to look at how Noah typifies the wonders of our salvation and how the Scriptures talk about Enoch and Methuselah and everybody else. But as you go home today, and as you read this book that you can trust, remember that every one of the accounts that are in this book were given by God to point us to Christ and to help us to live a life that's not a little better, that's not just easier, but a life that pleases Him and glorifies His name. When you go home tonight, think about the fact that the vast majority of the houses you're going by are populated with people that are going to be fodder for the demons in the tribulation hour if it comes soon. That they are going to be screaming and crying for the rocks to fall on them. They are going to plead with God to let them die. It's going to be so horrible. Wouldn't you like to not fail to give them the good news of the gospel? You might start it with saying, did you know, I was studying the flood. Did you know the whole earth got flooded? And did you know only 8 people got saved? And that's in every historic record of every civilization on this planet. And did you know God's going to do that again? Only the second time with fire? And I want to tell you that Jesus Christ came to seek and to save the lost. If you've never told them the gospel, you might get the first opportunity. And you might see God intervene supernaturally and change their hearts.